My wife was the kindest soul I ever knew. She deserved someone better than me. She deserved someone who lifted her dreams instead of crushing them. Someone who clapped at her victories instead of competing with them. I failed her, and I will carry that failure until my last breath. When I look back now, I can trace the very moments when everything started to fall apart. Those moments didn't look dangerous when they happened. They didn't feel like turning points. They seemed small and harmless, like a careless shrug or a sharp word tossed out and forgotten by me but not by her. Those little things add up. They pile one on top of another until a wall stands between you and the person you love. For me, the first stone in that wall was pride, my ego. I loved my wife more than words can carry. I still love her now, even though she's gone. But back then, I loved being right even more. I loved the feeling of winning an argument. I loved the look of frustration on her face when she couldn't push back. Arguments became something for me to win and for her to lose. A way to prove I was right and she was wrong. Something to feed my pride. I should have been a better husband. I remember one night clearly. Amanda sat across from me at dinner, stirring her pasta without eating. Her eyes were far away, but I didn't ask what she was thinking. She was my wife. I should have asked. I talked about myself instead. I wanted to be the center of attention. I was selfish. I talked about work, about how I carried the weight of paying the bills. She nodded and smiled faintly. "I hear you," she whispered, and instead of asking what was on her mind, I took that as permission to keep talking about myself. What I didn't see then was that her silence wasn't agreement. Her silence was already the beginning of goodbye, the quiet surrender of someone who's tired of listening but never being heard. Over time, her silence grew louder than any words she could have spoken. She stopped correcting me when I exaggerated. She stopped challenging me when I brushed her off. She stopped meeting me in arguments, and I thought I had won. Finally, I told myself, she respects me now. Finally, she sees I'm right. Man of the house. I should have been a better man. She used to tell me about her dreams. She dreamed of opening a small bakery. She dreamed of painting again, like she did in her university days when we met. But every time she shared those dreams, I cut them down. I'd say, that's delusional. Or, worst of all, that's silly. Why was I always in attack and defense mode? A good man uplifts. I was doing the opposite. Each time I dismissed her dreams, I stabbed another hole in her heart. She never shouted back. She never cursed at me. She simply folded those dreams into herself, tucked them away, and smiled a smile that wasn't real. And I, blind and arrogant, mistook that smile for agreement. When I first met her, Amanda was like sunlight. She carried warmth into every room. She had a gift for making people feel seen, for making them believe their words mattered. That's what drew me in. I had spent so much of my life feeling invisible. I grew up in an abusive home. My mother was a drunkard, and Dad was never really around. With Amanda, I was seen. I was heard. I mattered, and I loved it. That was the initial attraction for me. She laughed easily, like laughter was her first language. She dreamed without shame. She wanted a life built on little joys, family dinners or road trips with no destination but adventure. I admired her. She was a solid woman by all definitions. I wanted to hold that light close. But as time passed, I forgot. I stopped protecting her light and started competing with it. I wanted to be the one she looked up to. I wanted her admiration more than her partnership. My ego didn't want to share the stage. Her radiance became a threat to me. Not a gift, but something I needed to dim so I could shine brighter. There's one night I can never forget. She came home glowing, her cheeks flushed, her eyes shining with hope. She'd been chosen to lead a project at work, something that meant everything to her. She spoke quickly, words tumbling out with excitement. She wanted me to be proud of her. She wanted me to celebrate her. Instead, I frowned. That means longer hours, doesn't it? Who's going to cook? Who's going to take care of things here when I'm exhausted from work? Her face fell. The light went out, like a candle being snuffed. We fought. I don't remember the words, only my voice, sharp and cold. I remember her crying, her shoulders shaking, and I hated her tears, but not enough to reach out and apologize, because in that moment, I needed to win. I put my ego first. That night, I slept on the couch. She slept in our bed,
and something between us broke. I think that's the night she started seeing me for who I was, a selfish and insecure man in need of admiration and validation in toxic ways. We stayed married. We shared a roof, but we never truly came back to each other after that. She still took the project, but she never told me about it again. She kept her joy locked away, safe from my pride. The months that followed were like living with a ghost. She was there, cooking, cleaning, smiling politely when we had company, but when it was just the two of us, she was gone. Sometimes I'd find her staring out the window, her face unreadable. Sometimes she'd leave the room the moment I walked in. I told myself she was being dramatic, that she'd get over it, but she didn't. I saw the distance, but I didn't change. My ego told me she should come back to me, that I was the strong one, the head of the home. But love doesn't compete. It isn't about who leads or who follows. It isn't about winning. Why would it be when you're supposed to be on the same team? Love is about holding each other, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. I didn't learn that until it was too late. It wasn't just the big fights. It was also the little things, like scrolling through my phone while she tried to talk, staying late at work without calling, forgetting birthdays, leaving without a goodbye kiss. Each moment was another brick in the wall between us. She was a good person. She wanted us to talk, to fix things. I'm the one who built that wall brick by brick. She stopped buying fresh flowers for the kitchen table. She stopped leaving notes in my lunch bag. She stopped reaching for my hand when we crossed the street. I noticed the change. I saw it. And still, I told myself, if she wants something, she'll say it. But love doesn't always shout. Love whispers, and I refused to hear it. There were still moments, fragile, fleeting moments, when the woman I married returned, a squeeze of my hand in the dark. A Sunday morning when she made pancakes and hummed softly, filling the kitchen with warmth. Those moments eased the tension between us. They made me believe everything was fine. They whispered, "See, you've put her in her place and she has accepted it." And I believed the lie. Her spirit was fading, but she was kind enough to give me glimpses of it, even as I gave her nothing in return. She offered me her best while I gave her my worst. The day she died, we argued. She told me she wanted to start painting again. She'd found an art studio nearby, said she'd already signed up for evening classes. Her eyes were bright, hopeful, alive. But instead of encouragement, I gave her sarcasm. "Painting at your age? You think that's going to pay the bills?" Amanda looked at me quietly. Then she said softly, "I'm done trying to make you proud of me." I don't remember what I said next, only that my voice was louder than it should have been. I called her ungrateful. She didn't fight back. She just went silent, that kind of silence that says everything words can't. Then she grabbed her coat. Before she walked out the door, she reached for her headphones. She loved gospel music. It was her refuge whenever we argued. When life felt heavy, she let those songs carry her. She walked out the door with that music playing. 2 blocks from our house, a car hit her. The driver said she didn't hear the horn. She must have been lost in the music, or lost in thought after what I said. They told me she died instantly. I'd tell myself she didn't suffer, that it was quick. But the truth is, I don't know. What I do know is that the last words she heard from me were not love. They were not tenderness. They were poison, dripping from the fangs of my pride. My wife was the kindest soul I ever knew. She deserved someone better than me, someone who lifted her dreams instead of crushing them, someone who clapped at her victories instead of competing with them. I failed her, and I will carry that failure until my last breath. This story isn't for me. It's for her. It's the only way I know to keep her alive, to turn my shame into a warning, my pain into a plea. My wife died because of my ego. Don't let yours kill the love of your life or any other person. If you like raw, relatable, and deeply human stories, subscribe to the channel. Tell us which country or city you're watching from in the comment section. See you in the next video.